like to follow with the story. Did everyone hear everything? Yeah. Sure? You're listening really hard, and I appreciate that. So I'm 10 here still, not quite 11 yet. But we're still poor, and shit is still fucked up. I feel like I've hit gold when I find 3 dirty picture magazines in the pile of abandoned books under the house. I dust them off to reveal a series of blondes wearing very small brassieres over their very large breasts. I read about women who are excited to discover something called the orgasm. None of the women have any clothes on, and all of them have their legs wide open. I look at the pictures of them rubbing their cocoa breads with shiny red fingernails. It's all very strange and very exciting. My heart is beating fast, and then slow, and then fast again. In some of the pictures, the women look happy and sad at the same time, as if they're eating an ice cream cone that isn't really their favorite flavor. Looking at the photographs makes me want to touch myself too. Plus, I want to know if my cocoa bread looks the same as the cocoa breads in the magazine. I decide the only way to find out is to have a look at it. I choose the one place nobody would find me, the pit toilet. Do you know what the pit toilet is? No. It's an outhouse. Not much more than a woodshed built over a concrete-covered sewage receptacle. The pit toilet is so small that only a makeshift toilet seat of wood can fit inside. And it smells like milk farts all the time. I look down into the hole. There are giant roaches crawling up the inner walls of the seat. Further down, bits of things are floating in what looks to me like a big black swimming pool. I climb up onto the seat and slowly squat. My naked bottom hangs over the gigantic opening of the square toilet. I carefully examine my cocoa bread. There are some things that look like mouths keeping a big secret. When I push the mouths open, a tongue pokes out at me. When I poke the tongue, the lips get wet. So I poke the tongue again, and again, and again. The lips get wetter and wetter. I am bouncing up and down so much my foot slips and I fall into the pit. My right leg and right arm are both completely in. The left arm is grasping at the side of the seat, the left leg caught in a strange angle that has just barely kept me from falling all the way in. I can't call anyone to help me. The dirty magazine is sprawled open on the floor, with devil daisies bottom cheeks separated by the spine of the open pages. The stench from the waist below makes it difficult to breathe, and there are things I cannot see crawling along my foot. My palms sweat, make it almost impossible to get a firm grip on the wood. It takes me nearly 1 hour to drag myself up and out from the mouth of the pit. When I finally collapse, shaking and picking pieces of roach legs off my hip and thigh, I know I'm never going to look at my cocoa bread ever again. And, you see why I like that story? Because it speaks about, like, the resilience of the kid, you know what I mean? Like, she's still able to, like, be curious and, like, stand in her life, and all this shit is happening, and I'm dodging my cousins, like 4 of them, every other night. But, I'm in, like, an outhouse, like, examining my vagina. Do you know what I mean? There's something amazing and wonderful and human about it that, I love about the story, and I didn't even kind of realize it was happening while it was happening, and shit's just happening when you're a kid, And when you're an adult, you're like, wow, kids just have the ability to kind of survive shit, and come out of it still, like, curious, and able to be like, shit, like that whole, I'm 10 years old, you're halfway in the pit, you've just, like, discovered, like, masturbation. It's, like, crazy, and all this is happening in the backdrop of all these horrors that I'm experiencing. And it really tells me, it really warms me, and it really kind of talks about the power of the human spirit to survive trauma. I posted a Facebook post today, like, how how do you know consent is consent? You know what I mean? And, you know, like, people come up with, like, well, it really depends on the situation. It don't fucking depend on no fucking situation. If you are unsure at all, in fact, I'll go as far as say, if you are not sure, like, you have to be 100% sure, like, you know, like if Jesus and, like, Peter and whoever else he rolls with, you know, shows up and was like, I'm going to, like, you know, if you're sure, then, you know, I'm going to, like, send you on to heaven, and if you're fucking unsure, then you're going to hell. Like, which one would you choose in that moment? You have to, like, ask yourself that kind of question every single time. And even if you've been fucking with this person for, like, 4 years, like, every other week, you know, you're in their bed and, like, you know, or, you know, I don't know. I don't know how y'all fucking these dorm beds, but... Can't do nothing but fuck because you're lying on top of each other, eh? No room to, like, lie beside each other and hold each other's face, you know? One atop the other. But, you know, like, but you have to be sure. Like, if you have any doubt at all, as I say, if Jesus or Mary or, I mean, Allah, I don't, you know, I'm not really, like, that close to the, you know, gods. Talk to them often, you know, they don't call me, you know, they definitely don't come over to visit. So if, you know, the people you believe in, if your own child, your mother's death, if you can swear on that you know. And the other thing is, if you have the opportunity to ask, why don't you ask? I mean, you could get sexy and be like, honey, are you sure you want me to put my finger in your vagina? Just be sure, like, make it sexy, like, you know, like, maybe you could get, like, honey, are you sure? There's like 100 ways to ask, you know, like, you know, like, is the vagina open for business today? You know what I mean? Like, there are 100 ways that you can really just ask. Ask, you can be sexy, you know what I mean? Like, just make sure you know every single time. And if there's alcohol, I mean, you know, like, sex is not that good with, I mean, I'm telling you, it's not that good with alcohol. It's, you know, like, most of you are, like, fucking drunk fucking, I mean, you know, it's not that good. You are all of the impression that the little groping you're doing and the vomiting that's going on, like, during sex, you know, I'm touching you, and as soon as I touch you, it's not that good, you know what I mean? Like, you know, being sober is, like, one of the best things you can do for fucking. Like, alcohol, like, does all kinds of shit to you that, you know, and then when there's alcohol, you know what's good with alcohol?